Jackson gave me the news of a planet far away. And Colonel O'Neill will assemble a team that will try to save the day. Dr. Sam has a master plan and a science attitude. And the job for Teal, he's part of the deal with his trusty go-out. It's just a regular day, it's Stargate Command, and it might be hard to understand.
Chevron 1 encoded. Chevron 2 encoded. Chevron 3 encoded. Chevron 4 encoded. Oh no, this is gonna happen. Chevron 5 encoded. Chevron 6 encoded. Chevron 7 what? We have a civil world.
Hi, welcome back, guys.
Oh my god, hi. I'm sorry. I hadn't actually watched that as it's ramping up, and I'm over here oh, welcome.
I love it when the fry box just starts spinning into view.
Oh, it's amazing. Oh gosh, welcome everyone.
Welcome back. I am your co-fry, Sarah.
Yeah, I'm Christina.
I am your co-fry, Rebecca.
Oh, I should have said co-fry. I'm sorry.
You're a co-fry.
I am a co-fry.
Gosh, Christina.
I'm sorry. I was actually trying to sneak one of my fries as this was going. I thought there was a silent moment.
I think it's appropriate that it's fries. That is very fitting.
Good choice.
It is very fitting.
So this is a very special first for us because we are live streaming on YouTube to our patrons, and then when we release the video, the video footage will be out on YouTube, which is personal problem, guys. It's the first time we try and do this live stream, the face demons come out, and I'm just pimples all over the place. And I'm you can this got right here. Unacceptable. I'm just this is the worst. So you're sorry, guys, but
fake news.
It's just life.
This is a beauty contest.
This is fun, and this is the first time where we started to record and we listened to the theme song too, which makes me laugh every time. I love it.
I rock joyous. Out to it every time, and I forget just how good it is, and then we listen to it and it's man, that's a good theme song.
Yeah, so I don't think people really realize we don't obviously listen to that.
No, I drop it. I hear the last 2 seconds as I drop it in, and then So it's kind of nice to just remember how good that theme song actually is. Thank you, Aki.
So good. So good.
All right. Well, do we want to hop in the fry box?
Yes, ma'am.
Some stuff. Hold on. I have a thing for that.
Short, because we're 3 fry short.
Right?
Yeah.
We're in the fry box now.
Oh, God.
All right. So first thing is we are fresh off the Stargate Atlantis AI. I was able to catch the first half, I guess. I don't know if it was half or a quarter or a third, but I was able to catch the first part of it. Everyone was super entertaining. I loved it more for the art, the AI generated art. The scenes were silly and they kind of didn't make sense, but it was cool to see all of the characters back in. But the art, the dog McGillian, it was so funny.
So good. If you haven't listened to it or had an opportunity to, definitely go over to Companion and watch it. Rebecca, is it live from the get-go, or is it going to launch at some point to be viewable?
So it's down for now. So they did the live, it's down, and they will re-release it as a VOD, a video on demand. And it shouldn't take too long to come out. So
God.
It just depends on what edit, if they need to fix anything in the live bits that they did. But obviously the thing itself was already cut before, so
it's so good. Oh my God.
So is that they pre-filmed it and then just kind of dropped it in Lawrence did the introduction and then they played. That's what I thought. That's kind of what I thought, but
yeah, that's why you can get the nice background and the music.
Yeah.
I picked the music.
Oh, it was so good. I love it. I saw
Um,
comments about it too. How
nice.
people liked it. Yeah.
Good. I wasn't able to personally to watch much. I was at the very beginning and I said hi from the 3 Fry Short YouTube thing, and then had my own in real life thing to do. So I missed it, but I didn't because I feel like I've seen it like
Yeah.
20
Yeah.
times at this point. So
Yeah.
Oh,
um,
no, it was good. I'm glad I was able to sneak away. Of course, it was like the weekend. I have a huge event going on at work. And so I was like in the middle of this like massive fitting and big appointment. And I was like, I have a, what did I say? I had a call, I had a conference call I had to hop on. And so I like went into like one of the offices and like someone's like knocking at the door, like, excuse me, when you were off your call, I was like, it'll be a moment. I'm so sorry. It'll be a moment.
it's
That
gonna
is
be
so
a
funny.
moment.
God, but eventually I had to go because one of the managers like overheard what I was listening to. And they're like, that is Stargate. Like, you can listen later. We need you on the floor. I was like, oh, okay, I'm coming.
You really are an international super spy.
Ah,
Because
too
like
live.
you're like, I'm in here working, la 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 la.
Do,
But it's
do,
like no,
do.
you're watching Atlantis AI.
I 100% played it off that I was on like a massive corporate call. And they're like,
Yeah.
it's Saturday. You're not on a call. What are you doing in there?
Like,
Yeah,
you're so
totally.
fake. Shut
It's
up.
It's important. It's important. It's
I
important
tried.
stuff, man.
I tried. It's all right. Yeah, it's good stuff.
I
No,
love
I'm
that.
excited. The AI, it was really great because I think this is one of the first times because Lawrence Maloney, he's been in the chat for previous ones, but was way more interactive this time, and I thought that was really cool. He's a little bit out from the shadows on this project, and I thought that was
Mhm.
nice. Like he was interacting as we were all chatting, and it felt way more bonded, like such a community
Yeah.
feel. That was something
sure.
that just for you to take back. I thought that was really nice.
Nice. I'll definitely tell
Let 'em
them. And now you can go buy your shirts. That if anybody wants Stargate AI shirts, I think I'm gonna get the Daniel Jackson quote one myself.
Well, duh. Yes, I
But
must.
I mean, Dog McGillian's pretty great too. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it was funny because purchases started happening like in the middle, and like
did
they
they?
hadn't really announced the shop yet or anything, but people found it somehow, and they
Wow.
were just starting to buy shirts and stuff. So
That's
it's pretty
awesome.
cool. Yeah.
Awesome. I
Yeah.
love it. Now,
I
are they?
thought it was
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I thought it was so cool because the whole Dog McGillian thing just happened. Like Lawrence was like, "Hey, like give me a suggestion and I'll generate an AI thing. It'll take like a couple minutes and I'll show it after the scene." And
Yeah.
I forget who it was, but they like just randomly, whose line is it anyway style, just like shouted
Yeah.
out.
I think that was
like-
David Hewlett was like
Yeah.
Paul McGillian as his dog.
Yes. Yeah.
The
But
the
then,
background
yeah.
behind that, and hopefully they can figure out a way to kind of cut it in the is like when they're first saying hi to each other at the very beginning. He shows off his dog that looks like an Ewok. And
Oh.
so that's kind of where where that came from. But
Cute.
yeah, it just was kind of weird to try to get it into the edit. But yeah,
Well, I think Lawrence
Love it.
put it in the chat.
he's
so,
put
like,
it in the comment. Yeah,
Yeah. But,
which is
oh my
good.
gosh. Oh,
Yeah. I think my favorite scene though is the one that was generated by the companion member, the gate ship, and Rodney's just
Oh, I
spray
missed
painting
it.
gate ship on everything. Oh, if you missed that one,
I
it's
missed
the
it.
best one because it's the
No.
whole trope of like McKay wanting to call it like the gate ship, you know,
Oh, God.
and they're like it's a puddle jumper, you know, it's and so he's just the whole scene, the whole beginning of the scene, he's just spray painting gate ship
That's amazing.
on it. Yeah, it's great.
Oh, I
So-
love
And
it.
I love the way they reacted to the AI portrait of Tori Higginson. They were just like, "Oh my God, she's beautiful, stunning. This is hauntingly beautiful." It was so like they were so into it.
Yeah.
But they really are just these beautiful portraits that are just like AI'd together somehow.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I have since that fallen down a rabbit hole of AI art. So there's a lot of different ones you can use, but I use one called Midjourney, and it's actually a Discord server.
Oh.
And you just type like /imagine, and you can type anything and see what it generates. And like I've gotten a little better at like prompts and everything for it, but it's
that's cool.
it's addictive. I'm warning everybody now because you're just be
Mm.
like, let me tell it to make up this thing. completely from scratch. Like,
Oh my gosh, the amount of drafts I have just from the TikTok version of AI, I should never go further than that.
it's dangerous,
Yeah, I
but
won't do
it's
it.
also amazing. Like the quality is pretty stunning on
Yeah.
those. It's just like,
I'm gonna have to give the goog.
Yeah, you
Give
can
it a
get
go.
it's technically a paid server, but they give you X amount of images for free to try out, and then of course they hook you that way because then I of course pay for the thing. But
Duh.
yeah, everybody check it out. Actually, there's on our this segues us into our second bit of business, which is our
Mhm.
Patreon.
Yay!
Yeah.
But on our Patreon, there are a couple of AI pictures of Sue-Ann Braun and or as Hathor. Those are actually from Midjourney.
Wait, I haven't seen them yet. I didn't look
Yeah,
at
you got to look at our posts, the ones that I put up there to like kind of get everything started. I put the Sue-Ann announcement on there, and I and there's like AI art of Hathor.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm looking.
She's holding an iPhone.
I was like
Oh,
Hathor
that's
holding a
amazing.
cell phone.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Did you send that to her? Or are you gonna show
No,
it?
I'll show. We
We
can show it
should
to her. We can show it to her
we
on the live.
should. Segment.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
segment. Here's some Hathor AI.
I can have him. I can do even more of them, and we can show her lots of them. So.
Oh, that'd be great.
Is
You
that
should do it for
silhouette
like
one?
all her roles that she's been in.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
That'd be
Is the
cool
what?
gift for her.
Is that like silhouette one also AI?
Uh-huh.
This one?
Yeah,
That's AI.
so cool. Wow.
And
Okay,
look,
sorry.
now we can show people things, and you can actually see what we're talking about.
Yes.
That's pretty crazy.
Yay! Oh my gosh, this is wild. This
Yep.
is cool. That's cool.
She does look like Tomb Raider. I'm sorry, there was a comment here. She looks like Tomb Raider in one of
Hi.
those.
She does.
She
Absolutely.
does, in fact.
Yeah, she does. Oh my gosh. Okay.
All right.
I love this. I love
What else?
this.
So Patreon, we got to talk
Yes.
about it. If you're watching us live right now, you are on our Patreon, so thank you.
Yeah.
If you're watching this recorded later, you should join us on Patreon.
This is going to be very, I think I had to turn comments off eventually because my ADHD is going to be all over.
It takes a little getting used to. I think it'll be a little easier once we actually get into the episode,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
because we got our notes and everything too. But yeah, so patreon.com/3 fries short. You can get to our Patreon where I should have really set up a little thing that pops up
should
on the
have.
bottom of the screen, but I'm terrible. Here, look, I can do a comment and then do it.
Oh, Rebecca.
Somebody else talk about Patreon while I'm doing this.
We have 7 patrons so far.
It's
which
amazing.
I'm surprised that anyone wants to give us any money.
Y'all
Like,
are crazy.
I'm honored. We even got our very first General Hammond. Our 1 out of 4. There's 4 total slots for the General Hammond.
Mhm.
So that Craig the Wraith is our very first General Hammy.
Yay.
Yes. What
which
does Craig
means-
the Wraith get to do? Because he's our
He gets to close the iris,
he gets to
which
close
is
the iris.
most importantly, none of us have to do that. That's all you do.
Like,
gonna have
please,
to-
everybody do it so we
Yeah.
don't have to. Although, like,
Yeah,
maybe they
so-
don't want to do it, and I'm like, maybe that's like not a perk for everybody.
Maybe not,
But for
but you
some,
know, you have the option. There are only 4
Yeah.
General Hammond spots available.
that's true.
So, and now there are technically only 3 left. So, yeah.
I love it.
Other perks that you have, obviously, live access, and that includes any special guest lives that we do. You want at 1 tier, you get access to Sarah's notes for the episode, which I already sent out. So if you're here for the episode, you can read along with us as we do this, and you'll be like, "Oh, wait, that's all they do." And I guess
It's
we're
super
giving away all of our
fancy.
secrets, but yeah.
So
Yeah, some level you get access to our Discord server, which we're trying to beef back up and get nice and active again. And I use Discord for work now too, and so it's just like I live on Discord, which is rough sometimes. But
I'm trying, guys. Discord's not my thing. It's like Twitter. Like, I never got into Twitter, which I'm glad I didn't at this point. But I'm trying. I'm trying to be there, make it happen.
yeah,
Three
but
Fresh
it's
Short is, however, on Twitter. So if you're on Twitter, you can follow us on Twitter too.
as a community, we are on Twitter, but Sarah as an individual is not.
I mean,
Right.
I am, but I'm never there. Like, at all.
I
Not my thing.
I think I have like 3 Twitter accounts, and I don't know how to get into any of them anymore. So that's about how Twitter's going for me as well. I'm right
Nice.
there with you. It's fine. It's fine. We're leaning on Rebecca for a lot of this.
I'll stick.
It's-
Listen, I'll take over Instagram. I can do that. That's
Yeah, I mean, anybody can.
straightforward.
Any of you can post anything on our Instagram. It's fine. I
Every time I
post
think
it when
you-
I drop an episode. You know,
yeah,
like that's when I post.
you've
Yeah.
beaten me to the punch a couple times.
Yeah.
Like oh, your epic post for
The
Out of
romance
Mind.
novel. Yeah,
Oh my
God.
god.
I
Oh
went
my god. Oh,
I went
it's
into
so funny.
Photoshop for that. Like,
Ooh, you got
Oh.
fancy.
I did. I got very
For
fancy.
You got
real.
real fancy.
I got super
But,
fancy
yeah.
to make it super terrible looking, intentionally.
I love it.
Oh,
Eventually,
I
I'll
gotta
have more
stop
time
looking
on
at
my
it.
hands.
I'm gonna keep laughing.
That's so good. Oh my
All
gosh.
right.
So
You
yes,
ready?
please join us on Patreon.
Mhm.
We should have a good time. There's some level also where we can do live Q&A, just chats, like in a Zoom room with
Yes.
people. So
Oh.
you can take advantage of that too. Oh yeah, sorry guys, you got to do that too.
Oh,
Um,
Sign us up.
So
Yeah,
you
just-
are
just tell-
signed up.
just
You
tell me
are.
what I gotta do. Like,
Right.
just tell me where I gotta go. I'll be there.
All right. Is that all the fry box stuff?
I think so.
I believe so.
Well, then, are we ready to get to our episode for the evening?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Let's
All
do
right.
it.
Let's
So-
do it.
Whoa.
No, you can start talking.
Okay,
I've
go.
got my
Oh,
finger over the
there's
button.
no segue.
I thought there was a segue.
There's no video segue this
Oh,
time.
okay.
You just got to talk.
Oh,
All right.
I got excited.
All right. So we're talking about season 3, episode 2, which is Seth. Guys, this is a stinker. I hate this episode so much. But I listen, stick around because there's going to be some really good conversations.
Oh yeah, I have a lot of
Um,
I have a lot of afterthoughts.
Yeah. So bear with us. We're gonna make it fun. I promise.
Let's just get through it. Let's chuck it through. Because my like coming back from Sedona brain, especially on this episode, is I'm ripe and ready.
that dry
Let's do
heat.
it.
Gotcha, girl.
That's right.
I should go
What
get
a-
my crystal ball that I got there.
Ooh,
Nice.
I need
I
a
will go
picture
get
of
it.
that. Please send.
I
that
will,
to
I
me.
will go get it at some point when I'm not having to do anything. I will go grab it and bring it and show it.
Nice.
Continue. Okay.
So we're talking about season 3, episode 2, which is Seth. And again, it's kind of a bummer that we started off like season 3 with the follow-up of Into the Fire, and then they're just like nosedive right off the cliff with this episode. There are some redeeming things in here though that I think are interesting, but overall, like the Seth character, not my cup of tea. So without further ado, this episode aired July 2nd, 1999. And it opens with Jacob arriving to the SGC, and he's like, hey, man, we need help hunting Gould. So they're in the briefing room, and Jacob has this holographic device. And he, like, comes up, it's like a light show, fancy. And Daniel's like, oh, it's like a family tree of all these Egyptian gods. But actually, it's all the system lords. So it's like all these, it's like a pyramid. It's not really family tree-ish. Like, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
But
Right.
it's all the system lords. And Teal points out the one symbol is for Satesh, and it's oscillating. It's kind of like flashing. So I have some dialogue already.
Oh gosh,
fresh out
off
the
the,
gate.
oh god. Okay.
Daniel, Hammond, Jacob. I'll be Jacob. Everyone
Oh.
else assume your roles.
Wait, there's a Carter line in there too. So,
So
I'll
you
do
gotta
I'll do Hammy and Carter.
You got a girl.
All right, I got Daniel. All right, so otherwise known as Setek, Set, Seti, Seth, ancient Egyptian god of chaos, embodiment of hostility, and outright evil.
Why haven't we heard of him before?
Well, I'm guessing we haven't even scratched the surface on meeting all the Gould system lords. There's probably thousands we haven't even heard of, right?
Only dozens at the rank of system lord, thousands of Gould in general.
What makes you think we would have met this one?
The Turkic Council has been taking a Gould census of sorts. where the system lords have positioned themselves, what domain they rule, who serves under them, and what sort of thing. But there's one Gould we've lost track of.
I hate it when you
Dun,
lose a
dun,
random Gould.
dun.
Dun, dun. He's missing.
How'd they lose him? So basically, the record of Satesh ends where the Earth's Gate was buried. So it was like he was on the books back then, but then as soon as the gate gets buried, he's MIA, out of town. And the Tok'ra believe he's still hiding on Earth.
But like, how would that have been allowed? Because at the time when it was buried, it was Ra, right? Like,
Mhm.
Ra's letting Seth just hang out in his land. That
Maybe
just
they were
doesn't.
buddies. Maybe Seth was.
I'm just, just system lore drama, like, or maybe he's like, I'm gonna trap this motherfucker. But I guess Ra didn't know that he was being cut out.
Bamboozled.
That's true. Maybe Seth was in on it. Okay,
Yeah.
discussion for later.
Because I think there's tiers of Gould, like System Lord is top dog. But then you have like all these minions below them and they're all fighting for power. So
Fair.
I guess according to this hologram thing, Seth is a System Lord or was.
Mm-hmm.
But then he's like, I gotta get out of town because people don't like me very much. Which they get into that too.
Mm-hmm.
But then we have our opening credits. La 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 la. So then we're still in the briefing room. And the team is going over all these logistics. And Jack is like, hey man, there's billions of people on Earth and you're looking for one. That's a very tall order. Like, how do you expect us to do this? And Sam wonders if he's even still alive. But Daniel points out that he could have a sarcophagus and he could also jump hosts, just host hop from every 400 years or so. And he could still be alive for sure. Hammond wonders why they never tried to find the gate. Like, hey, like, all these other Gould seem to have a spidey sense of, like, where the gate is. Like, Hathor was able to find the gate, no prob. So, like, why hasn't he tried to find the gate?
My thing just got answered in this. I don't know how I've missed this. Continue.
Oh, okay. What was your question? Or are you...
No, my thing about my whole, like, why was he there? But just keep reading, and it answers exactly.
Okay. But Jacob explains that Satesh has a price on his head for trying to overthrow Ra and is wanted dead by the System Lords and the Tok'ra.
Notes coming in clutch again.
Yeah. So Jacob guesses. Yeah. And I watched this and took these notes last week, so I didn't rewatch the episode like today. This is all
How dare you?
Stale notes, guys, but we're going for it.
Mm-hmm.
So Jacob guesses that he is, I don't know what that means. I don't know what I wrote. That he is.
Jacob guesses that he's seeing Earth.
He's still on Earth.
Using Earth.
Oh, okay.
I'll be
He's using Earth.
Using Earth.
Thank you. He's using Earth to hide out since he is wanted in Gould Town, as O'Neill had once said before. So, because Satesh is a thirsty hoe for power, and they use the MO of religion as their cover, Daniel is like, let me try and track him down. I'm going to give it a goog and see what I can find. So, cut to Sam. She's talking to Jacob, wondering why he requested this specific mission. She's like, you just want to come hang out with me, didn't you, Dad? Like,
I mean,
miss you. XOXO.
It's
Yeah.
sweet.
But Selmak pops up and he's like, nope, it was all me. Your dad has issues and he needs to deal with them.
Oh.
It's like Selmak's losing sleep at night. She's like, you need to deal with this shit because if you don't, I will never shut up. I will always be in here. And it's about the unresolved issues between Jacob and his son Mark, who is also Sam's brother. And like I said, as I ad-libbed, this is how I imagine the conversation in Jacob's head, because it's kind of like he hears Selmak, and Selmak is like, we cannot sleep. There's not enough space in here for me, you, and all of your drama. So please, like, go make up with your son, or I'll never shut up about it. I will bother you until
like
we
the
are both...
naggiest of naggiest partners.
Yeah.
Good for him.
So Selmak is actually talking to Sam, and he, she, they, however that I guess it's
They.
Selmak's he now. They just go whichever way. But he said, "It hurt your father deeply when his son didn't come to his deathbed." And then Jacob pops back up. And he's like, "Why would it hurt? As far as I was concerned, the kid wasn't my son anymore. It didn't hurt a bit."
Bullshit.
Methinks you doth protest too much.
Right. Well, that sold it for me clearly.
Clearly, you are healed and there is no trauma. And then you get
None.
so agitated.
Very
Oh, Lord.
healthy way to deal with it.
Absolutely.
But
I
yeah,
think that's fine.
and that's a flashback to Jacob's whole situation when he had cancer and was literally dying. Sam came to him, but Mark was like, "Peace out, man. I can't." So Jacob remains firm on his stance of not seeing Mark. He's like, "Nope, I'm good. I don't need help. I'm good." So they meet back up in Daniel's lab with the rest of SG1, and Daniel has found that. I'm sorry, I'm drinking fizzy stuff.
Excuse me.
Daniel found out that there has been a cult of Satesh throughout history, in one form or another, since around 1000 BC. Satesh was represented by an animal that was either fake or now extinct, most likely the former rather than the latter. So it's like some made-up creature. And since anthropologists haven't discovered any fossils, they're just like, it was some made-up thing. Are you guys laughing at Adam?
Hi, Adam.
I think he's watching on his phone. This is so bizarre.
Oh,
It's
no, we can
That's
see him
even
watching.
funnier. That's even
He's got his
funnier.
AirPods in.
Oh, God, I
Nice.
love it. Okay, hi.
So we have this
cozy.
dialogue.
No, Adam, you're fine. Adam, come out. Adam, come
It's
out.
fine.
Oh, he's shy.
Oh, Adam, no, we love you. You're like part of it. Okay, anyway.
He's on that 20-second delay. He can't hear you right away.
Oh, that's true.
There he is.
Oh,
That is. It's like right at like a 15 to 20-second delay.
yeah.
Oh,
So,
God. Okay.
We have the dialogue. This is where we get Teal'c's famous joke. So who wants to be Teal'c? I'll get the
I
one
will.
O'Neill line in there.
I'll do it.
You want it? Go for it.
I got it. All right. It starts at okay, hold on. Because the creature represents Satesh, the helmets of the Satesh Guard have continued to be a source of many jokes among the Jaffa.
Jaffa jokes. Let's hear one of them.
I shall attempt to translate one, O'Neill. A serpent guard, a Horus guard, and a Satesh guard meet on a neutral planet. It is a tense moment. The serpent guard's eyes glow. The Horus guard's beak glistens. The Satesh guard's nose drips.
To which we get the most boisterous, booming laugh out of Chris Judge. It's so funny that Teal'c is like dying at his own joke, but then like he reads the room and like finds out nobody else thinks it's funny, and he just shuts up quick. But I can kind of see, like, I get the humor of like all of these other guards are fierce, and this other guard's got a runny nose. He's blowing snot bubbles or some shit.
Because his nose, because the nose drips.
Yeah. Some
That's
fake
funny.
made up animal. So then we have, okay, this is where we get the plot dump. This is like literally an essay. Again.
Oh God, is this all Daniel?
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
Get it, girl.
Unless you, oh, okay. Wow, this really is quite the monologue.
Yeah.
It is.
I think I cut out some like random, like, oh, really? Like supporting character, like, oh, interesting. Do go on or whatever. Yeah. Like,
Okay.
Everybody's like,
All right, Daniel incoming. Okay, so he's ready. He goes, okay. After Set was supposedly killed in ancient Egypt along with all his minions, a similar god showed up in Greece called Typhon. If I say these things wrong, whatever. Similar backstories and remains, another fictitious animal representation. And in one of Typhon's last legends, he killed 300 followers and then disappeared from Greece. Now, at that point, he seemed to vanish from recorded history altogether. Until I found this. A new cult arose in England, early 1800s, strangely enough, near the location of Stonehenge. The cult had I can never say this word, an enigmatic,
enigmatic.
Thank you. Leader named Seth. They were constantly under attack by the Christians. Then, and this is the important part, Seth's worshippers, all of them, were found dead. having slit their own throats. But Seth's body was never found. I did a search on the US government classified net in case the CIA had a record of something somewhere. And guess what came up on the ATF page? A cult whose leader is named Seth, just north of Seattle. The ATF are investigating him now because they've become so heavily armed and fortified. This guy has about 50 followers who are all apparently ready to die for him. Deprogrammed ex-members of the cult describe Seth as having magical powers and the ability to heal. They also claim he's murdered several members in front of the others. Here's the best part. Several independent reports have stated that the cult leader can make his own eyes glow.
Dun dun
Dun,
dun.
Off to Seattle.
All it took was a quick search on the classified internet. We're getting our first visitor of the night
Ooh.
off screen. He'll probably
Hi,
be here
Ergie.
soon. So there's
I
a
would
couple
say
things.
he is the second visitor of the night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
The gang's all here.
Mine are just sleeping quietly behind me, like good little kids.
Little
So,
cuties.
I have a question about this Daniel monologue. It's like, did we really need everything before? Hey, I searched on the CIA website. Like,
Yes, because Daniel hyperfixation and just super excitedness. I relate to this because you get on this topic. I did this with Lord of the Rings the other day with a friend of mine, and you get really excited about the end part, but you feel like you have to build up the story to it because you're not bought on that they're going to be so easily convinced. So yeah, you do. You have to do that. Yes, it's
I
important.
agree.
For his
That's how,
personality,
like-
absolutely.
It's very systematic. Like he wants to understand it from front to back. So
Mhm.
that's how it's like when I tackle something at work, whatever it is, like this is just how I am because I'm neurotic. It's like, listen, you can tell me to type A and B into this Excel sheet, which is fine. A monkey can do that. I want to know where you're pulling these numbers from, what I'm comparing them against, because now I'm in like the accounting world.
Mhm.
Like I need to understand what I'm reconciling or whatever. Like
Mhm.
you're killing me.
Hi, Ergie. You did it to yourself.
I keep
putting me in
moving my
Murdo.
drink because I don't want to spill it. But I understand his want for context and to get the bigger picture because then he can maybe understand better of like what they're up against. So the fact that they found like all of the followers dead and they like did this mass suicide. That's like,
Mhm.
you know, that's telling like, okay, the stakes are going to be high because that could potentially happen again. Also
Mhm.
love that they threw in Stonehenge. That was cool.
Mhm.
So that alludes to like, oh, not only did the aliens build the pyramids, but they did Stonehenge too. Just one
Well,
of their
for-
other greatest hits. Racking
just
them
so
up.
you know. Yep.
Just yeah.
And then also that he's like a job hopper. Like he's going from job to job. Like, okay, I'm gonna go into Greece. I'm gonna quit that job, and then I'm gonna go to the UK, and now I'm in America. So
Well, I mean, if there was carvings or paintings of him anywhere around, like he probably wants to skip out of that. Like,
which is
Yeah.
stupid. He's so dumb because if he's undercover,
oh, he switches
Like-
host anyway.
true. Yeah. But it's
Mm.
like the worst undercover cover.
the,
Like,
the worst cover in which to be under.
I mean, it's really just like I can't. Oh God!
so we're off to Seattle.
Yay!
So the local sheriff leads SG1 plus Jacob. It's like SG1 gets a +1 and it's Jacob. To this compound. He is super grateful for their help because it's like local small town sheriff doesn't have enough funds and or resources to deal with this. And some local parents have lost their kids to this cult. So they're like, okay, cool. Like we get the help that we need. And then we see this, there's a local man, his name is Jason, and he approaches them. And his son Tommy has been with the cult for 9 months. He actually hired like a PI or some kind of investigator to go in and try and get him out. But the detective was shot in the leg trying to get in. So he's still stuck in there. And then we see Teal'c observes a man like off in the distance working on power lines.
Mhm.
And he tells Jack, like, hey, man, someone's spying on us. And Jack also noticed this, too, because, of course, they did. And he believes, he's like, my money's on FBI or ATF. So because this is like a known cult, and they did get this
Yeah.
off of the secret CIA web. So
It makes sense.
yeah, they get sight of the compound and they see that it's guarded heavily, and they're armed with guns as well as Zats. They fall back, and they're met by a group of ATF agents. So that's who is on the case, the ATF.
Mhm.
And at the base camp, Agent Hamner, who is the lead guy, he asks why they're there. To which Jack shuts all of his questions down with, like, it's classified, classified.
Like, I just want to go around
classified.
saying that to everybody because, like,
Yeah.
can't even check my credentials because that's classified.
Okay.
So
I
sorry.
gotta show you guys.
Oh,
Hold on.
what? Are we hanging a lantern? What?
Aw.
Aww. Aww. She's like, stop! Don't bother me. I was resting. I can't.
That's so funny.
So,
She just
so cute.
Love
Oh, I
them.
love
Oh, she's
her.
off to Hitchcock now.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
So we have some dialogue. It's Hamner, Jacob, O'Neill, Daniel. Daniel's
There's just
lines
one
are
Daniel
pretty,
line.
yeah, like 1 or 2 Daniels.
two.
So I'll do Jack.
I'll be
Okay.
Hamner.
Okay, so then I'll be Jacob Daniel.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
You have a rather insubordinate subordinate, General.
He's not insubordinate to me, only to people such as yourself. Saves me the trouble. Now maybe you can tell us what you and your cohorts are planning here.
This compound is owned by a cult. It's run by a charming guy, goes by the name of Seth. We recently acquired intelligence to confirm they have a horde of prohibited weaponry in here.
That's some mighty fine intelligence you've got there.
So what do you plan to do?
Surround the compound, negotiate, try to get them to come out peacefully.
And Daniel's like, you have no idea what you're dealing with.
And I suppose you do?
As a matter of fact,
Great. Then why don't you tell me?
That would also be classified as well.
Fine. I'll tell you what. The United States Air Force has not been invited to participate in this operation. Therefore, you're out of your jurisdiction. Therefore, I'm ordering you all to leave, or I'll have you arrested.
So then Jacob is like, hey, can I phone a friend? Like,
Uno
can I just make a quick
momento.
phone call?
mhm,
In the background, you see Luna getting her daily greenies.
Aw. Yes, this is what happens on the live taping. There's lots of kitty cat stuff going
Cat
on in the background.
interaction.
Oh yes.
So Jacob makes his phone a friend call, and they're kind of waiting. And in the meantime, we have some more dialogue, some more conversation about like what could potentially be going on. So Jacob, Daniel, O'Neill, and some Teal'c. And some Carter. Jesus, there's a Carter at the
all
end.
right,
too.
let me switch it over to be Daniel Teal'c.
Okay. I can
I'll
do Jacob O'Neill.
Okay.
Or where? Wait, oh no. I'll just be O'Neill. You can be Jacob and Carter.
I'll be the Carters.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
All right. It's probably Nishta. It's a biological compound that, once inhaled, infects all tissue in your body, including your brain. It tends to make your mind extremely pliable.
That's like what Hathor used.
It's stronger. It's more encompassing.
And Teal'c says, I believe that is the substance Apophis used on Ryak.
Can it be reversed?
Nishta does have an Achilles heel. Once its effects are reversed, it can't reinfect a host. They become immune.
Okay, well, how do we reverse it?
There's only one way: an electrical shock, strong enough to kill the organism, but weak enough to not kill the host.
That is why it worked when I shot Ryak with the I can never say it. With the
Zatnicatel?
Zatnicatel. Thank you.
There you go.
So then we go in with Zats.
Well, it's not going to be very covert that way. And like I said, any kind of frontal attack is going to be a problem.
Daniel's right, sir. Besides, with all the firepower he's got, we wouldn't stand much of a chance anyway.
So they learn a couple things here. It's like a drug that Hathor used, which is cool. We have seen it before. It's what they used on Ryak when he was brainwashed by Apophis. They know how to kind of like defeat it and snap people out of it. But then they also need the logistics of how are they going to get into this compound? Are they just going to go in guns blazing? Like, what's the plan? Then Hamner gets a call back from the president. That was Jacob's phone a friend, and is told to put Jack in charge of the operation.
I love
which is
this.
kind of like a slap in the face. Poor Hamner is just trying to do his job. And then these like people come in from out of nowhere. Also, because Jacob was a general, that's why Hamner was calling him general and
Mhm.
thinking that Jack was his subordinate because he was a general in the Air Force, but now he's got other stuff going on with the Tok'ra. And then, of course, O'Neill says, "Excellent. My first order of business, give me one of those cool jackets. Extra large. Double XL if you got it." It's like, dude,
Love
do you like your stuff really baggy? Because you are not like a double XL dude. But
I mean, let
It's
him
the
these are,
90s.
yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
90s.
Yeah.
So he does throw Hamner a bone. He's like, all right, I'll give you a solid. And tells him that Seth and his boys got their hands on some top secret technology that we would prefer not to fall into the public consciousness quite yet. So he kind of like gave him, maybe to like placate him and be like, okay, this is what the deal is. Please stay away from our business. Like, I promise we're not coming in here for no reason. And then Jack now opens the floor to suggestions on how can they get into the compound safely. So Daniel believed that there would be underground escape tunnels built into the compound, and with the help from the ATF, they start searching the surrounding areas. So they find an entrance. It's kind of like, I don't want to say sewage, like sewer tunnels or whatever, but like that's the vibe that it gets. And then back in like the base camp, Sam creates these earpieces that will deliver an electric shock to break them from the Nishta, but they need to stay under its control long enough for it to spread throughout their whole body. So if they don't wait until the effects have fully taken, they won't be like cured from it. They won't snap out of it. So they have to. That's the like catch-22. It's like, okay, we can snap you out of it, but you have to wait a little while, and we don't know like what could happen in that waiting period. So that's the risk that we run. Also, only Sam and Daniel and Jack can go in, since Seth would be able to sense Jacob and Teal'c's Gould, which we will find out later why Sam also should not have been included in that.
I was gonna
but
say.
they overlook that, I think. And that's been brought up before, that Gould can sense that she was taken as a host. As a host before. Like, what the hell? In Need. Pyrus, whoever. He could tell when he like grabbed her face. So they kind of walked right into that one. But anyway. More dialogue. Carter, Daniel.
Assume our identities.
It's our standard identities, yeah.
Correct.
So, Daniel, you feel pretty certain that if we get caught, he'll turn us into one of those zombies rather than kill us?
Well, we're more valuable to him that way.
Why? How do you think he'll use us?
Well, historically, he used women as a harem. They catered to his every whim, and as a result, they were well cared for.
Barf.
Super.
And the men outside the main court were used mostly as warriors and guards, protecting his compound, pretty much doing his bidding.
Dare I ask about the men inside the compound?
They were turned into eunuchs.
Eunuchs as in snippety doodah. Sweet.
Oh yeah.
So
No sex
that,
for you.
jeez, that would suck, man. Like, imagine some of those people that are like in there that have been in there for months. They wake up and it's like, damn.
I got
This
nothing.
sucks.
There's maybe now some modern surgery to help with that, but
Yeah. So that whole conversation happens when they're like walking down this tunnel. They're infiltrating. And they make it to the end of this tunnel and they're transported up by the ring devices right in front of Seth. And he uses this Nishta drug to drug them, and they all pass out. And we get the iconic O'Neill line right before he passes out. It says, "So help me if I wake up and I'm singing soprano." So
I mean, gotta keep his manhood.
it's scary. Like, to think it's all jokey, right? But in reality, it's not. Like, that would be a very terrifying thing to go up. Like, obviously they put themselves at harm all the time. That's like life or death. this is kind of a different body horror that they're getting into mutilation and
Mhm.
like permanently altering themselves where it's like there's a really good chance I'm going to survive this, but I could be permanently disfigured. And that's, I think, a different level of fear and scariness versus
Mhm.
just like if I die, like lights out. Like I think they're a little more used to that
Yeah.
outcome. So back at the ATF base camp, Teal'c and Jacob are listening in on the earpieces. They can tell that SG-1 has woken up, but they have to wait to make sure the virus is fully spread before they can shock them. And then this man, Jason, enters the tent. This is the guy whose son is in the cult. And he's like, I want to help in any way possible. So we have some dialogue. There's Jason, Teal'c, and Jacob. So I can do Jason.
All right, who do you want? You're gonna stay with
I'll,
the Carter.
I'll stick with the Carters.
All right, I'll be Teal'c.
Excellent. I find out from his college roommate because Tommy and me hadn't been talking for some time, like 6 months before they sucked him in.
I do not understand. How could a father not speak to his son for such a long time?
That's the funny thing about it. I don't even remember why. Obviously, something pretty stupid in the scheme of things. I'll get out of your hair.
Do human parents not love their children unconditionally?
Sometimes things get complicated.
Many things are complicated, General Carter. In Jaffa's society, loving one's children is not one of them.
In human society, sometimes it is.
Okay, hold on.
Hold on a minute.
Because,
Wait a minute.
like,
Wait a hot
something about
minute.
reading that through hit that conversation different to me. Because, Teal'c, you have no place to fucking talk. I know you're a man on a mission, but you just called out someone not talking to their son when, like, you just. Okay. Okay.
I get it.
I get it. Yes.
And I
but-
think he uses what he's doing now as an example of how much he loves Ryak, of like, I want a better life for my son, and it sucks that like I can't be with him and he can't be with me.
And I get it in the context of like there's a difference of like if Ryak were there, they would be talking like they're on talking terms versus like this situation where it's they haven't handled their shit and they're not talking. Like it is two different things, but still I'm like interesting having it come from Teal'c.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. An unlikely source, I think. Because you kind of might
the only person though in that like with the setup the way it is, he's the only
Mhm.
person that they could have given those lines to, because
100%.
obviously they're trying to push Jacob's story, his
Yes.
issues forward, and they're using this Jason guy with his son to do that. And then
Yes.
that really basically only leaves Teal'c. So
in another way, I think they could have used O'Neill, but I see why they didn't, because one, Jack would never talk to Jacob about that kind of stuff. He would never be like, hey man, my son's dead. Like, I would give anything to talk to him again. Put your petty bullshit aside and talk to your son. But Jack would never, I don't know, like, because of how Jack and Jacob both are, they're just like bury your head in the sand or like don't talk about it kind of people. You have to have that alien perspective, so to say, of Teal'c to be like, you're weird. Why aren't you talking to your kid? Like, you weirdo. To kind of like call out the obvious and have that outside perspective of like, don't you love your kids here on Earth? That's weird.
Right.
So I thought it might be, honestly, I think it would have been a more interesting conversation if it was Jack to be like, dude, my kid is dead. I would give anything to talk to him again. So whatever bullshit you have going on with your son, like, is it really that bad?
But also, like, sometimes it is that bad. And sometimes it is. And that's, it's not always worth patching up.
So, spoiler alert, because I have discussion themes and whatnot, that's the main discussion points that I have, because I think, honestly, it's the more interesting aspect of this episode is the parent-child relationship and how it's fractured, how it became fractured, why people choose to cut ties. The Satesh storyline is neither here nor there for me because it's pretty straightforward and resolved very quickly. So back in the compound, we see that they have been fully taken over by this brainwashing. And of course, right away, Seth can tell that Sam was once blended with a Gould, and he's like, "Give me all the peeps that you came in here with, like round them up." And he demands to know if it was a system lord or the Toker who sent them. And Sam tells him it was the Tok'ra, which because it kind of sucks. I hate that. Like she's the snitch of like, oh, I remember, but I know that they can't help it because they're under this brainwashing. But then it's also like, I don't know. I just whatever. It is what it is. So Jacob and Teal'c are overhearing this through the headset, and they're like, "Okay, we gotta do it now. We gotta shock him now. No time like the present." They wake up from this brainwashing, and they are trying to lie their way out of it by saying that they were sent by a deprogrammer. But Seth is like, "Sounds fake. I don't believe you." And he orders them to be killed. And it's like, dude, I get it, because if they wouldn't have sent Sam in, maybe that would have been a little more plausible. But he's like, you clearly know about the Gould and the Tok'ra. Why should I believe you? So they're being led away to be executed. And they overpower this guard person that's leading them. They shoot him with a Zat, and he's like wakes up from his deprogramming. Also, we get a scene of Seth. He is distributing these Gould grenades to keep out the ATF. And I'm like, oh shit, the jig is up. We got to get out of here.
But like,
So-
do we ever find out how he got his hands on like all of this stuff still, like all these centuries later? Like,
Maybe I thought about this too. I wonder if he knows where like caches of weapons were stored,
maybe.
and he was able to just like gather stuff up from like where previous Gould had set up shop and
Could be.
amass some weaponry.
Could be. Interesting.
So the man that they deprogrammed leads them to an armory. And I don't know if I said, but we find out that this is Tommy. This is Jason's son. Jack tells Tommy, whoever, to help get people out. Tommy. They're like, hey, can you figure out how to work those ring devices and get people out of here? Like, you've seen him use them. Can you figure it out? And he's like, yeah, sure. I got you, bro. They start shooting people with Zats to like deprogram them and evacuate them. And then Seth interrupts Daniel and Jack, and he blasts them with a ribbon device. He escaped. Sorry, it's birth control time. Sorry, it's fucking nice. Time for the BC. Stay safe, kids.
Oh, while you're doing that, this is a good comment.
Maybe that's where. Well, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so
we have. Yeah, let's read that.
So maybe that's what decided where his cult went next, accessing another cache of alien loot. That is a genius theory.
I like that theory.
Mm-hmm.
Love that.
Very much.
And I'm sorry, I'm not sure how to pronounce your username.
Nelavai?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Thanks for the comment.
Yeah, we'll go with that. We'll go with that.
And if you two are wondering how you can leave comments on our exclusive, I'm just kidding, but no.
No, go with it. I got the email thing. You can do this thing.
Oh yeah.
So
Keep going. Keep
If
rolling.
you want to listen in and leave comments like this lovely commenter that I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm sorry. Nell.
Close
I'm
enough.
gonna call you Nell. Nell.
Nelavai. You can tell us later what it was.
Sign up for our Patreon, and you can watch us record episodes as it happens live with all the interruptions of birth control taking and cats and boyfriends,
Which I never bother to cut out anyway. So
No, all there all the time.
So where was I? So grenades deprogrammed. Get people out through the ring devices. Okay, so there's
Seth, and Seth
people
is like pretends to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he runs into Jack and Daniel. He blasts them with the ribbon device. He escapes through the rings, and now he's posing as a cult follower. He's got like his hood up and his white robe and his tunic and like the weird cult get up. Tommy and Jason are reunited. Jack and Daniel escape through the rings right as these bombs go off. And I didn't know because they look like those shock grenades that just like screech really loud and like make people pass out. But those were actually like blow them up bombs.
Yeah.
So they
Boom.
boom.
They do it.
Teal'c and Selmac are like rushing into the tunnels to help track down Seth. And they find him among the crowd. He uses the hand device on Jacob, and Jacob gives his hand device to Sam to tell her to use it. Like, it's all you. She's not sure, but Selmac is like, listen, girl, you got this. Gotta dig deep. You can do it. I believe in you. Seth raises his ribbon device, but Carter is quicker. She uses hers, and she throws him back against the wall.
Go Carter.
And he's like laying on the ground, and she crouches down next to him, and he tries to get her again, but she just instinctively raises her hand, blasts him into the ground. Like it's like she just like dents him in there, like
She was
breaks
like
him in half.
supercharged.
Yeah.
She was holding on to that superpower, man. Like she was ready to go.
And then Daniel and Jack arrive to see that he's dead. And I think it was Daniel. He's like, "You killed him." Like just randomly. Like,
You killed him.
Yeah.
I mean,
sorry.
if this thing has settings, I don't know how to use it. So like,
It's
I
an all or
didn't set
nothing.
phasers
That's a
spot
kill.
done, I'm sorry.
Yep.
But that's kind of like, I don't know, it'd be shocking to be like, I was just defending myself. I'm sorry. But also, like, you don't be so blunt about it. Jeez. Oh, you killed him. Whoa.
Thanks
Weird.
for stating the obvious.
Maybe
Maybe a like, wow, are you doing all right? Because that was intense.
Yeah.
Like, you doing good?
Yeah.
Oh man.
So the episode ends. We get like kind of like a little wrap it up. The episode ends with Sam and Jacob walking up to a house. They hug, and then Jacob knocks on this door, and Mark opens the door, and Jacob embraces him. And that is, they're on their way to mend whatever had gone on
happened
between them. So this is where the discussion comes in, because my question was, what possibly could have transpired between Jacob and Mark to make them have this strained relationship?
So my guess, because Carter's Sam,
Mhm.
these are all Carters. Sam says earlier in the episode that like she has a bad relationship with Mark too because he paints her with the same brush. So I'm assuming if it's like the military not around thing, that probably is what kind of got everything started, and that probably led to a lot of arguments about career and family and stuff like that. I would imagine because Mark's the one that has kids too, right? Like doesn't Mark
Yes.
have? So that wouldn't surprise me if that was the reason.
We also find out later in the season, so like spoiler alert, that Sam's mother is dead, and for a long time she blamed Jacob for the car accident or whatever it was that caused her to die. So that might have something to do with it as well. And judging by how Jacob has dealt with things in the past, I can only guess that maybe he shut down altogether after his wife died and was just like very absent and uncaring and wasn't really there for his kids the way he should have been.
Right.
Yeah.
So here's a question that I pose to you. And I've dealt with this personally because I don't talk to either of my parents. Why is the onus on the grown children to make amends with their estranged parents? I've heard so many different times of like, well, you only get one mom and dad and they're still your parents. So like you should try and have a good relationship with them. Why is it on the kids? That's so extremely frustrating to me because when you cut out a family member, it's not something you do lightly or that you just decide to do at the drop of a hat. I feel like when I decided to stop talking to my parents, it was very like, okay, I'm done. Like it felt like a very easy decision, but it was years and years and years that led up to that of like being manipulated, being lied to, I know this word gets thrown around a lot, but they're very narcissistic.
Mhm.
So it just took years and years and years of building up to that for me to be like, I'm done. Like, it was so easy once I got to that point. And it's frustrating when you have people who mostly are parents. They have children.
Mhm.
And it's like they're projecting. It's like, well, I wouldn't want my kid to ever do that to me, and you should always try. They're still your parents. Um, so I've always found that very frustrating that it's put on the child of like, you should try harder. You only get one set of parents, and it's never like, hey, mom and dad, maybe you should like look back
Mhm.
and reflect on why your child wouldn't talk to you,
Mhm.
and maybe you should own up to some things.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah,
So
that's tough. Well, go and then I have a thought on that.
so I looked up. I have an article from Newsweek because I was like, I wanted to get both sides because I'm like, okay, what are reasons why children cut their parents out? But then
Mhm.
on the flip side, why do parents disown their children? Because that's also a phenomenon that you see. So in 2020, a research by sociologist Carl Pilmer showed that 1 in 4 Americans are estranged from their families, which is roughly 67 million people. Simone Bowes, a relationship therapist, says that these are the top reasons why adult children cut their parents off: toxic behavior, difference in values, a lack of support, physical, emotional, or sexual abuse, failure to empathize, and changing times. So I personally can relate to some of these, like toxic behavior, difference in values.
Mhm.
I would say that my dad is a raging Republican, like down the Fox News rabbit hole, off the
Mhm.
wall. And it's like, and I know a lot of like the 2016 and 2020 elections polarized a lot of families. And I've seen more than before family members cutting off other family members for who they voted for, who they supported. And the perspective that I see a lot is like, I cannot like you support someone who is in favor of like thinks being gay is a sin. I
Mhm.
can't like you supporting that. That's a complete difference in values, and I don't want anything to do with you. That doesn't align with my current views, and maybe this is a difference that we can't get over.
It's a touchy one for me. That's a very
Yeah.
personal one for me because and I'm sure at some point, like, my dad will eventually probably listen all the way through to this, and I hope he does, and I hope when he, like, goes on this path, like, it's in a good spot because he is someone who is this, like, modern support and is trying to, like, self-reflect, but I just don't have the confidence that it'll get where, like, I would love it to go, but it's his journey, not mine, but, like, my truth in that is that it's really challenging having a transgender daughter and my parents being diehard Republicans who are now a little bit less Trump, but were very avid Trump supporters to the point that they obviously knew there was something wrong because whenever I'd go to visit, they would take the Trump signs out of their yard. Like
Wow.
they would take them out as like a we're being respectful of you, which I appreciated. But like it's playing both, it's like having your cake and eating it too. Like if you are that, be that. But like the two-facedness, it took me a while to get really comfortable saying like I'm not okay with that. Like and it's still a complicated journey. Like if people have like seen my TikToks, like I just got back from Sedona. I wanted to go on a trip with my mom to try to get her away. I haven't had my mom away from my dad. Not away from my dad, but I haven't had my mom, just me and her, ever in my life on a trip. She's never felt like she could go on a trip by herself, without his permission, without that. Um, and it's really interesting talking about this trauma and like why people write people off. But this specific topic about um, I'm not in a place where I feel like I would write my parents off, but it's complicated for me because at the same time they support someone who doesn't support my kid, their granddaughter, but yet they also claim to support their granddaughter. And it puts me in a really complicated middle place of I don't know what to do with that information. Like you say you support her, but then you support that person, and I don't understand. And that's like it's just really confusing.
It's very reminiscent to me of, and I think we've talked about this before because I've read articles about like very pro-life people who will literally picket outside of Planned Parenthoods,
Mhm.
and then they will actually like they'll go in and get an abortion themselves and then go right back out to the picket lines, and it's like they think their abortion is the only moral abortion
Mhm.
because they can justify, well, I'm just not ready, or I don't have the financial means, but everyone else, they're all sinners, they're all irresponsible, like they can justify their own stuff,
Mhm.
but then they can't look at other people's situations and empathize and understand where they're coming from. So it's all very hypocritical. And I don't know anything about your parents, but
Mhm.
that's kind of like what it sounds like. It's like, well, that's my kid, my grandkid, and like I know them personally, and I know my daughter, but then other people, like they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're talking about.
Well, and I'll give them some credit on that. Like, we had some really great dialogue. My mom asked me a lot about, she's like, well, what's your thoughts on like Caitlyn Jenner? Like, my mom was like, well, I was like, Mom, gender identity isn't a political issue, but political parties make it political. And I was like, this is a great example where just because someone is transgender, gay, like wherever they are on that spectrum, that they're not required to align with a political party. They're not required. Like, that's not synonymous. And it was a
Yeah.
really interesting, and I loved the conversation. I said, I think it's great to have so many different variations so we can really get a full scope and paint that picture. Like, they're not synonymous, they're not the same thing. And I was like, I won't go down that rabbit hole any further, but my parents are in that growth phase of their avid allies. They don't stand up for like the bigotry. They won't anymore. They've cut off friendships. They've started to go beyond, and they're just kind of coming from the inside out. My point earlier was like, I just don't think I'm worried that like as they're aging, like they're not going to get there soon enough. Like I hope that they could end their life with this like freedom and this like acceptance. I know they're on a path to it, but it's really slow going. But they're trying. And so that's where like it's that complicated space for me, because I can't excuse the trauma of my past. I can't excuse them from that trauma. But I can also give them space because they are trying to work forward. So it's like I don't know.
That gives me hope that they're open-minded enough to try and
Yeah.
understand and try
Oh,
to
yeah.
unlearn some toxic behavior, and it can be done.
Oh,
The
yeah.
excuse of like they're just from a different time is such bullshit, because it wasn't like they were taken from whatever and plunked right into 2022 with
Yeah.
no time in between.
Well, and I think they are the great example of probably what therapists or people want to lean on, of like, it's not worth it, you should work through it. Like, I do think like my situation is one of those that like it can be worked on space. But there are so many that can't and shouldn't be. There are so many other situations where no contact and having that separation is necessary for like people to move on with their life. It's not always just patch it up and throw a Band-Aid on it. It doesn't work for everyone.
Well, so both of y'all know that I am in constant contact with Bonnie.
Actually, it's upstairs.
Absolutely.
Bonnie.
But constantly. But so my dad died when I was 19. And talk about not aligning at all. I'm pretty certain, and I think I've said this to her before too, that if he still were alive, I don't think that we would have a relationship. Like, I think
wild.
especially like post, he died like 11 days after actual 9/11, and a post 9/11 world for my dad would probably have sent him like really further than even he was at that point. And so part of, I mean, it's not that I would love for him to still be here, I think, but then there's the other part of me that's like, even if he was, would I even be in contact with him anymore? Would I even talk to him anymore? So it's interesting to think about because of that, like just completely different ideals, completely different.
Yeah. Were you and was your dad still married to Bonnie when he died? Were they divorced?
No, they had been divorced, split up. They had been separated since I was in 3rd grade.
Oh, wow.
They just didn't get around to divorcing until I was in high school because they didn't care. But
Paperwork.
Yeah. But yeah, so they had already been split up. They were like, I always said that like Bonnie's NPR and classical music, and my dad was NASCAR and country music, like very, very
That's
different.
fair.
But they were childhood sweethearts. So like they grew up together, and that's why they were together.
So here's a question for you. And Chris, your parents are still together, Christina.
Mhm.
Your Rebecca, yours had been divorced. Mine were together through my entire childhood. Do you think being a child of divorced parents affected you negatively versus like if they tried to stay together and stick it out and be like for the sake of the children type of thing? Like what's your
No,
viewpoint on
I think I benefited from them being split up because I think it would have made the house just miserable, like
exactly?
it's like everybody says trying to stay together for the kids, but sometimes like if you're creating a toxic environment, then
So
The
yeah,
like divorcing mom over here with me is like, no, I would never stay together for the sake of my child. Oh my
no,
god.
because it's
yeah.
not actually for this. I mean, it's not
No.
helping,
No,
like
it's
And
giving her a
that's
terrible example. Like it's
yeah,
saying
Mhm.
like don't be authentic, like suck it up. No, bitch, like don't
yeah.
settle.
That's exactly what my parents did. They stayed together for whatever reasons. I can't fathom them. Um, but they hated each other, and it's like
Mhm.
this is miserable for all of us. We all hate it here, and
Mhm.
like this is how like me and my older sister would literally like we were in high school working at Taco Bell, making $7 an hour. And we were like, Dad, can you please move out? Like, we will help you pay the bills. Please, like, move out. And he was like, it was always, oh, the house, oh, blah, blah. Like, it was always something or another. But then he would kind of use it in an argument, like when as ammo against my mom of like, the girls want to move out. We can just move out, da, da, da. But then he
Mm,
never would. It was like these false promises and empty threats. So then my younger sister is 7 years younger than me. And like
mm,
my older sister, we're 2 years apart, so we're closer. Before before my sister even graduated high school, my younger sister, she had moved out in with like an extended family member or her boyfriend, I can't remember at the time. And as soon as she was out of the house, my dad dipped. He
mm,
shacked up with an old high school girlfriend and he moved out. And that was the biggest slap in the face to me because it's like,
mm,
we fucking begged you while we were
mhm,
in high school to move out. And as soon as we're gone, then you decide to leave. That's just a
mhm,
big middle finger to us of like, we weren't worth taking the risk of leaving, or like you just didn't want to deal with whatever the custody or whatever it was. I don't know. But it was the biggest slap in the face to me because it's like, well, now that I'm done with the kids, I can go have a life now. And
mm, mm.
I'm still angry at him for that, and I've never talked to him about that. It's funny, and I can send you a screenshot if you guys are really interested in
Oh
the
yeah,
drama. But his
always.
girlfriend reached out to me on Facebook with this really long message
Oh
about
god.
like how I should have a relationship with him, to which I did
May-
not reply.
Maybe he
Oh
But
should
yeah.
be reaching out and
it
saying, "Hey,
it came from a good place. I wasn't offended by I wasn't offended by what she said because I also don't think she knows the full story. She knows what my dad tells her about how terrible my mom was, but she doesn't know shit that my dad did.
mhm,
So
Mhm.
I don't know if I'm the person to like start that.
Right.
that's fair."
But I want to go back to this article that I read because this is where it got really interesting. So last year, researchers at Ohio State University asked over 1,000 estranged mothers the reason they believed their adult children had cut contact. Almost 80% felt that a third party, such as the other parent, a relative, or their child's partner, was to blame. And then the
Hmm.
whole like study suggests why people cut them out as like toxic behavior, such as lack of empathy, refusing to respect boundaries, and being highly critical or malicious as the reason for cutting out their parents. So there's some cognitive dissonance here. You've asked like 1,000 people, 1,000 mothers who are estranged from their kids, well, why do you think your kid cut you out? And they're immediately, well, it was somebody else's fault. It wasn't me. It was their
Mhm.
partner. It was their father. It was somebody else. Which is definitely how my mom would probably approach the situation. She could do no wrong.
Right.
But she would
Mm.
never, anytime that we would bring up something that we felt some type of way about, it was like immediately met with, well, I'm just the worst mother in the whole world. And if she would ever say that to me now, I'd be like, yep, sure are. It's not going to work on me.
Right.
So
Hmm.
it's that like victim complex of like, I'm just the worst mother ever. I can't do anything
God.
right. And it's like, can you admit to some of the shit that you did? Like, we had no money for lunch and had to steal money from you so that we could buy something to eat at school, and there was no
Mm.
food in the house. Can you like, and I get like, I'm not a parent because I know how hard it is. I
Mhm.
know that it's not easy, and I don't want to do or be in a situation where my kids would go through anything that I experienced.
Mm.
I know it's hard, but I feel like people, and I don't want to get it like, every time I bring this up, like, or talk about it, I feel like there's like this eugenicsy like backdrop to it, and it's not. I think people should just be really aware of what it means to have a kid and what all of that entails. Versus, and I've seen it, people who are on their like sixth kid and another one in the oven, and it's like, dude, you can't afford the ones that you have now. What is happening?
Mhm.
Like, I don't know.
Did I send y'all this? There's this TikTok. If not, I'll send it to you. But it was about it's a stitch this guy did, and he's a child of immigrant parents, and it's this um mom going on a tirade about how like our generation is so weak or whatever because we're antidepressed this and blah 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 and we're stressed here. And his point was like, no, we are healing. We are aware. Don't put your trauma on us. Like, that is not a badge of honor that you had 12 siblings and you got to like sleep in the bed one night a week. And like, that was exciting for you. Like, and that you had to start like taking out the trash at like, 5 years old. Oh my gosh. Hold on. Where did you guys go? Oh my
Uh-oh.
gosh.
You're still there.
Oh my gosh. I have an incoming phone call and it's like coming on my laptop as
Oh,
well.
I was about to say you're still here. So
Oh my god, sorry. Work is calling, but they can wait.
Yep.
Hold on one second. Call you back. Okay. So, but it was so interesting. I will send it to y'all, but it was just this how they're just going on this thing about it's that whole like, well, we had to suck it up and we were tough and da da da. Like, why would you want to pass that trauma on to your child? Why?
It's also not a contest. Like, this
No,
is not
it's
the
not.
trauma Olympics. Like,
No, like, I'm sorry, like, we know what that feels like in our own unique ways of that, and how dare we want to, like, pass that on to our children? Like, we have an opportunity now to stop that and to heal that and to break that tradition. Like, don't be mad at us, like, that you didn't deal with your shit. Like, go to therapy.
Mhm.
yeah,
Go to
for real.
therapy.
So we talked about like why people will cut their parents off, but what's the reverse of that? A parent disowning their kid, because that seems like the worst possible thing a parent could do. And like immediately my mind goes to when parents disown like their gay children, LGBTQ children, for whatever religious reasons, whatever reasons. But I found an article, and I'll share this note with you guys. These are, I believe they're like Reddit users. It was like a Reddit thread of like, hey, parents, why did you disown your kids?
Hmm.
So, and I'll spare like the usernames and everything, but one of them said, he molested 2 boys. My siblings and I have stopped interacting with my oldest brother. We found out that years earlier he had molested at least 2 boys. He was an adult at the time. He showed no remorse and turned the story around to say these boys were at fault. It was so disgusting to watch someone you grew up with treat people so poorly and show blatant disregard for others.
Hmm.
Very good reason to disown someone. I can
Mhm.
understand
Mhm.
that. Someone else said, drugs, violence, theft, repetitively trying to destroy his younger brother, becoming a danger to myself and others, mental health issues that he refused to deal with any longer or take his meds for any reason.
Hmm.
That one goes on. It's pretty like, so when you think about, those are very good reasons to disown a child, like if they're literally a sex offender. Like, I think we're just so used to the context of like people disowning their gay kid or something, or like they don't approve of whoever they married, or they don't approve of how they're raising their kid or whatever, and that's why they disown their children. But through reading things and finding articles, there are very legitimate reasons for a parent to disown their child.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I'd be curious, like, for anyone who has the comfortability to share, like, I don't know. I feel like finding those safe spaces to have those conversations, like, because I think when I start talking about it, I realize I'm not alone, because then immediately someone else is like, oh, I have it too. Oh, I have
Yeah.
that too. And it's really a slow heal, but it's really wonderful to just even open that up. And I know, I think we have a little bit of privilege as like, women and then female in this, like, I think men have a harder time like having that open up dialogue, but I think it's still something like worth finding that community or therapy or someone to really help that process, because it runs so much deeper than I think we realize it does sometimes. And like, I know I'm just scratching the surface of my own situation. Like, I always have thought I've had this wonderful relationship with my mom. I always viewed like, I'm mad at dad because I'm protecting mom because he was so whatever to her, but he wasn't. Like, there's some stuff that she did that like she did of her own accord.
mm-hmm.
And like,
Mm-hmm.
and that's been really hard, like, to go, whoa, wait a second. Like, I was projecting something that maybe wasn't him, it was maybe her.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. It's a journey. And this is such an interesting episode to like talk about not only like parental children issues, but also just the mindset of oh my gosh, why of cults and that the whole desire to even go there, like why, it's that seeking something different, and those who would manipulate that and take control and take advantage of people. It's just, this episode is such a deep rooted like emotional one for me in a weird way, like but I just hate it being part of Stargate. Just like, I don't know.
And it makes you wonder, like, if that Tommy kid searched out Seth because he was missing a relationship with his father, and he's like, this is a parental figure that I can latch onto. And you see a lot of people, like, you hear about it all the time, like daddy issues or whatever, which is gross, and I hate that. But a lot of things can be rooted back to like poor relationship with parents or whatever happened between you and your parents when you were growing up.
So like, no pressure as a parent, like no pressure, because like every day, and like John and I have been talking about this, like raising our kids, like you worry so much, like what inevitably we're gonna fuck something up, right? Like inevitably something's gonna happen, but like what is the trauma? And like that constant awareness of like trying to not traumatize your child, it's a lot. I can't imagine not being worried about that. I can't imagine.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
The like gumption to just be like, nah, my kid will be fine. I have no ownership or responsibility for that. Like, that's
They'll figure it out. Yeah.
Worry. That's my constant worry, is that I'm traumatizing her somehow.
Yeah. And I think so many, like, my parents are boomers. I think so many boomer parents just had kids because that's just what you do. And that was it. Like, there was very little thought into it. And then you have these like latchkey kids who don't really have much guidance, and it's like, oh, they'll just raise themselves, whatever.
Yeah.
And then like, so I think, and if I would ever become a parent, like I can say, oh, I would do things this way, I would do things that way. You never know how it's going to work out. I think it's just, you have to do the best you have with what is in front of you at that moment. And then years later, if they come back and say like, hey, remember that time like you did this? That was really fucked up and it messed me up. You just have to be open to that. Like, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt to like have someone who you love and who you put so much like effort and time and all your tears and like all of this energy into raising, for them to come at you and be like, yeah, you fucked this up. you were kind of shit at this point. And it's a hard critique to accept because you were, like, I know you are doing the best you can do at this given moment, even though, like, some parents I can't say would be doing that at all.
No, but like I fuck up daily. Like I already have one thing I know that I traumatized her with. And like not like no, it's a really strong word, but like there's something that I do that I know I already had to address because it was causing problems. And it was in the morning, I get anxious. I get anxious if like we're running late. I get anxious if like things aren't being done. And so what I thought was a great method to like, okay, we're going to get up and then like we are going to like get out the door. Like I'm a very like steps oriented person. So is Ryder. But the difference being is I was rushing Ryder and it would give her anxiety. Like I was giving her anxiety about completing tasks because I was like, okay, we have 5 minutes. Like we got to get it done in the next whatever. And like I for me, it was like gamification of it. But for her, it was like, so now she's struggling though at school because sorry, there's someone coming by my door. But now at school she's struggling because anytime there's a timed test or anything of that nature,
Anxiety.
She has anxiety, and like I've already had to be like, okay, like we're gonna work on it, and like I feel like I'm the root cause of that, and I may or may not be, but like it's you just have to like work through it and move on. So yes.
Yeah. And that like that it kind of reminds me of like my mom, like when we were late for school or whatever, she would be like yelling at, oh my god, we're gonna be late. Oh my god, it was like the worst thing ever. And it's like I'm 7. That does not sound like my problem. Like that sounds like poor planning on your part, lady. Like you're the one running this show. Like 100%. Don't yell at me. So, but yeah, like I can understand how that can cause anxiety because now I'm constantly always 20 to 30 minutes early for shit now because of that anxiety that was caused by like, oh my god, we're running late. Oh my god, get your stuff. Why you're not ready yet? Oh my god. And it's like, again, like I'm 7. I was telling Adam about this story one time. We had a lot of like outdoor cats. And I remember we were going out for school one day and my cat Lucky was hit by a car.
Oh
and
no.
Like 3rd grade me was traumatized. And my mom I still went to school that day. And I was like, damn, like I don't know where this memory got unlocked from, but I was like, damn, if that was I would be like, huh, you don't have to go to school. We're staying home today. Right. We're giving Lucky a little funeral and like making a, like, but I was like, damn, like looking back, I'm like, damn, that's kind of fucked me up. Like, that's wild. Like little 7-year-old me going out. Oh my god, my cat's dead on the road right in front of our house. And I still went to school that day.
Get your bags. We're going.
Yeah. Still going to school.
Listen.
Lucky splattered, but
so I can tell you 100%. Your parents was the saying, your parents, they fuck you up. You can be anxious about being late as a parent, but Bonnie was always late. And therefore I was late to everything. So now I have to be 20 to 30 minutes early. So it goes from both directions. Like I found it really odd in elementary school when you're late to school and you get punished because it's like I'm 7. Like how is this possibly my fault?
Oh my god, yes. Like the amount of times like so one of my cures like things with it was like, it's okay if we're late. We're gonna slow it down. It's okay if you're gonna be 5 minutes late, 10 minutes late. But then it hasn't happened at all this year. It was like during that first like really adjustment phase of parenting and all that. But poor kid had like 15 tardies on her schedule on her thing. And I was like, so I went in and talked to the principal about it. I was like, I gotta give you some things, and we talked about it. And she like took them off of there. She's like, I appreciate you sharing with me. Like, whatever, we love Ryder. Like, I'm like, yeah. I mean, like, they're middle school, high school. That's different. But like, that is 100% on the parent. Yeah. Like, don't put that on that child. Like, that's not fair.
Yeah. Why am I getting in trouble? I can't drive. Like, I cannot drive myself to school.
Like I can't get there. Bye.
Again, I am 7. Like, what do you do about it?
Do better. Oh my gosh. All right.
But I think going back to Stargate, I
Yes.
like the fact that it was Jacob who did the
Mhm.
reaching out to repair this relationship, and it was not something that was put on Mark. And thank Selmac for that, because they're just like, you fucking deal with this right now
Yeah.
because I cannot sleep. You're killing me. But yeah, and I think as far like, you know, as a parent or a child, whatever it would, I think it's just everyone's still learning. And
Mhm.
if you're a parent and your adult kid comes to you saying like, hey, this, remember, like this and this, like that kind of like was fucked up. Embrace it with as much grace and humility as possible, because I've literally had my mom, that didn't happen. I don't know what you're talking about. Just completely
Mhm.
flat out deny that anything ever
Mm.
happened, or just hit me with the, yeah, well, I'm just the worst mother in the whole world. Just
Oh
listen.
God.
I know it's gonna hurt. I know it's gonna suck, because again, like, you raised this kid, you gave them everything, maybe, possibly, I don't know, but it's gonna suck to hear it. But if you want a relationship with your kid, you got to
Mhm.
be open to those conversations that are tough. And if
Mhm.
not, straight to the nursing home. That's where my parents are going. No
Oh.
shame.
Sorry, like you're done.
Straight to the nursing home.
I do want to like, so Irish Kagoria has this commentary, and I just happened to peek over. I wonder if Selmac feels that way because the Choker Queen is MIA at this time, and this like responsibility of like healing that. I just thought hi, Adam.
Oh.
Peek from behind.
Oh wait, that's Adam.
I
It is
know
Adam.
it's Adam.
He had a different name earlier.
Yeah, he
He's
switched
switching
it.
up on me. He
He
also
didn't.
says, my parents legit told me that they had kids because they needed help on the farm. That was just how things were back then, and they didn't realize that it was effed up until I told them one day, because I was leaving to enlist. So, and yeah, like, I get that that's how things were done back then, but then when your kids come to you and be like, hey, the fact that I literally only exist because you needed me to shovel horse crap is kind of messed up. Like,
Mhm.
you should probably look at that a little closer.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of heaviness. Okay, how are we? I need to bring.
Well, so
I
what's
can't keep going. It'll keep
Yeah.
bringing me down. I can't keep going.
what's the next episode?
Yes, let's go there.
We should have already have the episode.
We're
but
super prepared
listen,
and professional
listen.
podcasters.
We are so prepared. Oh, Sarah,
Season
you'll
3,
appreciate
episode
this.
3.
So I was talking to John. John's like, Sarah is like, I don't know, and what is she's
Oh,
very
God.
no, because like he's like, it's so impressive. Sarah just knows like the episode, the name, when it happened, what it is, the reference points. I'm like, well, yeah, she's our note taker. She knows all, and she's a good Googler.
Yes, Google.
gives
Oh,
it a
it's fair
good-
game.
It's fair
game. Thor tells O'Neill that the Gold Lords plan to attack Earth. He offers his help in negotiating a peace treaty. 3 lords attend. Oh, we got you, Nearty, and I forget who else.
Yes.
Who's
That'll
the
be a
third
good one.
one? Oh, Kronos.
Mhm.
Kronos.
Nice.
So we get some politicky stuff going on.
Yep.
I'm here for it.
I mean, we kind of have to at least say the thing, but hopefully we will have our General Hammy to give us an official one for the episode.
Yeah. Whose turn in theory is it?
I'll just go because I just thought of something off the top of my head.
Done.
Good.
Go. Love this.
All right. This is Sarah signing out, reminding all of your boomer parents out there to go to therapy and close the iris.
Nice. And
I love it.
here are your credits. Let's roll those credits.
Yeah.
Yes.